Okay, so we've gone through phase 2, and phase 3 is step 4 through to step 9, and now we come to the final stage, which is basically maintenance of our sobriety. And when we talk about sobriety on this particular course, we're not talking about dryness, we're not talking about abstinence from alcohol. We're talking about equilibrium of the mind. That's what this 12-step philosophy is for, basically. Not just to maintain equilibrium of the mind, but to get us from the self we have now to our ideal self, or our optimal self, as we use. So, phase 3 I call maintaining the magic, because that's, to me, the Alcoholic to Alchemist 12-step philosophy is all about creating that magic in your life. And again, I know that from personal experience. So when we look at step 10, step 10 is just simply daily meditation. Okay, so, why should we meditate? I mean, when we're in the throes of alcoholism and we're having them destructive tendencies, the last thing on our mind is to meditate. Why should we meditate? It's ridiculous. And that's why step 10 comes at this stage in the philosophy, and it doesn't come at step 2. Meditation doesn't come at step 2. We need to bring people back, we need to mentor people, we need to facilitate people's path from that destructive tendency and the trail of devastation it leaves behind. We need to help them to resolve the issues that are tied in with that period of their life before they can move on. Obviously, there's a lot of work to do, and we've covered that work in steps 1 through to 9. Meditation is really important in many ways. I mean, it's been known to be life enhancing. Even the medical profession now are acknowledging how much meditation can contribute to our mind. So let's just read some of the some of the benefits of daily meditation. Right. First of all, reduce stress. By detaching from the field of activity, thoughts and actions. Okay, let's elaborate on that. Detaching the field of activity in Vedic terms, we might say, the ancient philosophy of India. The field of activity wouldn't just be our real life, movements, external movements. The field of activity also covers our thoughts. So it covers psychological and cognitive activity. And what we do when we meditate, I mean, one of the Buddhist practices is become aware of the observer, so that when we become aware of the observer within us, we start to distance ourselves from our thoughts. Then we realise that there's an observer. Now this observer that Buddhism speaks about, this is the part of ourselves I'm speaking about when I say the wise witness within, our indwelling divinity, our unconditioned self. It's this part that is detached from the chaos of our thoughts, from the field of our thoughts, from the field of activity. And through meditation, through the practice of meditation, we can become very aware of this central point, this central part of our being, if you like, that is still, that is wise, that is creative. And through this, when we carry on and when we detach from our thoughts and our actions, not only do we come in contact with this central core of ourselves, our indwelling divinity, but also it reduces stress. If you think of stress being caused by what we refer to as our consciousness, our mind, if you think of ourself being basically bombarded with thoughts and thoughts and thoughts, and not being able to rise above that field of action, that field of thought, that chaos, then it's them thoughts, it's being bombarded with them thoughts every minute of every day that causes a lot of stress. And we know, the stress hormone, cortisol, adrenaline, is one of the biggest killers. We know stress is one of the biggest killers. So just purely by meditating, we can prolong our life, we can take the stress of our life, and we know in modern day society that stress is one of the biggest killers. So yes, don't forget, now we've created a life that we adore, we want to preserve it. Okay? Replenishments, they say that 20 minutes in a deep, a deep, medium to deep meditation is the equivalent of 8 hours sleep. So, you know, we all need to rest, we all need to bathe in that oasis of our mind. So again, 20 minutes spent in silence, in quite a deep state of meditation, is the equivalent of 8 hours sleep. Right, clarity and concentration. I don't know about you people, but when my mind's bogged down with thoughts and whatever, first of all, I become very tired. I can't concentrate. I can't remember what somebody said to me 2 minutes ago. I can't remember what action I carried out 1 minute ago. My concentration is terrible. At these points, when I'm bombarded in the active field of thought, if you like, when I'm swamped with thoughts, I have no clarity as well. Everything's cloudy. I often, if were I used to make decisions in that state, they'd have to be the wrong decisions as well. So here what we're saying is our ability to concentrate is affected by the constant chatter of our inner dialogue. Meditation promotes one-pointed awareness. In our normal state of consciousness, our thoughts are scattered and diffuse, which leads to confusion and irritability. In meditation, our awareness becomes laser-like, supremely concentrated on the object of focus. Focusing solely on the present moment clears our mind, increases productivity, improves our memory, and enables us to become effective decision makers. So we're seeing now that meditation is not some weird practice whereby somebody takes themselves off, makes a sound like and looks weird for 20 minutes. It's highly practical, extremely beneficial to our health, extremely beneficial to our psychological health, and also our decision-making faculties, clarity, making right decisions. So again, meditation is very important. Health benefits. Numerous studies have proved that meditation improves our health. For example, lower levels of stress and anxiety due to meditation diminish the probability of heart disease significantly. Mind and matter are inextricably linked. Emotional turmoil often translates into physical ailments. Meditation promotes equanimity of the mind, which reflects in a vast improvement of physical health. Again, think of all them years that we were in hell, and now we turn our life round. We adore our life. We get up and we're full of inspiration each morning. We want to maintain that. And step 10 is part of the maintenance. This phase is called maintaining the magic. And also, I've got to add to that, in my state of meditation, which doesn't necessarily mean eyes closed, complete silent meditation. Sometimes I like to take myself, next to a stream in the country and whatever. And my mind, during that meditation, I find that real creative ideas rise from the depths of my unconscious. And it's at that point, I seem to come into contact with what I call the wise witness within. It's a part of me that, again, knows the right, the right action to every situation. But not only that, it's extremely creative. It fires my imagination. And let's bear in mind that when we recall things from memory, we're regurgitating things that are already known. Our imagination can be the womb of creation. So again, when we meditate, these are the benefits. Also, people are driven from pillar to post by the contents of the mind. When the mind's chaotic and conflictual, and fragmented, people literally don't know where they're going. They've got no direction, and they're permanently tired and whatever. And here we're saying, control your mind, don't let your mind control you. And we said, one of the things I wrote here was, man has conquered some of the most difficult terrain, high mountains, the moon surface and the North Pole, to name but a few. But has he truly conquered his inner domain? How many people live life unconsciously, propelled by rigid conditioning? How often do we fall under the spell of social hypnosis? Meditation presents an opportunity for self-examination, a space in which we can review and challenge our thought processes and belief systems. It's about living life consciously again. This practice gives rise to the actualization of our true potential. Again, one of the things about, sometimes when we're in our mind quite a lot, and in a busy mind quite a lot, it's nice to go out into the country and get out of your mind and into your senses and just visualise what is round you. That has the effect of quieting the mind quite considerably, and you're living in the present moment. Again, the health benefits are second to none. Happiness. I mean, the goal of all goals really is to be happy. Whatever people do, the underlying objective is to attain that happiness. And it is our inner dialogue which detracts from this natural state. I do believe we're naturally happy. If we didn't have all that internal dialogue and that mental dissonance going on, we have this innate happiness that is waiting to come to the fore. And my experience is, when I meditate and when I quiet my mind, I automatically feel happy. And let's bear in mind that the goal of all goal is happiness in whatever we do. We're pleasure-seeking species. Creativity. When our chaotic thoughts abate and silence prevails, we tap into the infinite reservoir of intelligence responsible for all creation. Great thinkers and geniuses have made all their important discoveries in this state. Remember, creativity is not a process of regurgitating that which is already known. It's the birthing of new ideas. In the silence of non-thinking, the universe relays novel ideas. They arise spontaneously and set us alight. We experience the joy of becoming collaborators with God, universal mind, or whatever other term you prefer. Go into silence, discover your inner genius, and unlock your creative potential. One thing I love to do, which is something I probably would have included in the book if I'd have thought on at the time, is what I love to do when I meditate, is to come into contact with my alchemist, my archetypal alchemist, the object called the alchemist in my mind. And this happened to me, which is a complete other story, quite by chance, when I had experiences of a spiritual nature one time. And one time I was feeling very low, and out of the blue, a jester came into my mind, and the name Galfridus came into my mind. And this jester used to make me laugh. But also, going back to the 13th century, jesters had, a lot of them had two functions. There was one that literally was the idiot. And then there was another type of jester who would be basically, the comedian, the type of person who would give pleasure, to the royalty and whatever. But quite often they could be rebellious, and through the humour, maybe in the courtyards, they would relay messages to the people. It might be messages of rebellion, but so they had humour, but through their humour they expressed very serious messages. And Galfridus, this object that came leaping into my mind, I would communicate with in meditation, because I loved the joy that Galfridus, if you like, emits. And I also love it. To me, Galfridus is my inner alchemist. It's the one that can take a situation, see the funny side of it, which to me disperses a lot of it, and then turn it on its head, reframe it, transform it. And I think that's one thing we will do in the next weekend. We'll try and invent these. If we haven't already got an object, or we can't sort of channel that object, then we'll create the object and put it there and converse with it. But that's one of the things. And also insight. During insight meditation, we transcend the mask of matter that shrouds the material world and gain first-hand experience of the true nature of reality. To relay this experience using words is impossible, so I'll conclude this step with the following statement from the Tao Te Ching. Those who speak do not know, and those who know do not speak. We can't elaborate on that, we can't analyse that statement, because by default we'll detract from it. So in a nutshell, that is step 10. It's all about the importance of meditation. There's meditation where we just bathe in silence. There's meditation where we seek inspiration. And there's meditation where we become extremely creative. And one of the things, if there's something going on in your life, then start your meditation with an intention of what you'd like to get from the meditation. If you want to get peace from the meditation, put the intention out there. You know, hold that idea in your mind before you start meditating. Okay, so that's step 10. We'll move on now to step 11. Okay, now step 11, I've broke up into 5 parts, and all this we're doing in step 11 is repeating what we've done earlier on. But we were saying before, Fiona, you were saying how long would it take, you know, for somebody to go through this process, and basically that's like saying how long is a piece of string, and it's subjective. But the most important thing to recognise from this is that this is a philosophy for life. It's not a 12-step program with a beginning, middle and end. Okay. Obviously, when we're mentoring a person through it, we would go through it chronologically and guide them through it initially. But then it's something that they must take away and use on a daily basis. So step 11 is telling us that